Good afternoon, it's meteorologist, or good evening actually, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if you are joining us from either of those platforms, please feel free to leave a comment, question, report, whatever you have down below. And hopefully I'll be able to address anything as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. So let's get started here with a look at our headlines. Well, it was a refreshing Friday, and it's going to continue to be a refreshing Friday night for us. High pressure will remain in place through the weekend, so that will keep the weather pretty nice. There is that spot chance for a shower Sunday afternoon, but overall it's going to be sunny and mostly dry for everybody. And then shower chances increase a little bit more once we get into the beginning of the work week. I'll break all of that down here coming up shortly, but let's take a look at our current temperatures. 68 degrees right now in the Evansville area. I mean, that's been the coldest temperature we've had here outside of a overnight low in several weeks, or pretty much the whole summer at this point. I mean, 68 here in the Evansville area. Last week at 9-10 o'clock, we were still in the 80s or even low 90s, so this is definitely much better. 73 though, still there in Henderson, 72 in Newburgh. So most of us are in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Now, what really makes that difference is that dew point temperature. So if you remember just a few days ago, our dew points were well into the 70s, even a few folks cracking lower 80s for our dew points. We have now dropped all the way down into the upper 50s for our dew points across the tri-state, and that puts us nicely in that pleasant and dry category. So 59 for our dew point right now in Evansville, 60 in Newburgh. But looking at our setup, we've got this frontal boundary that moved through the tri-state yesterday. It brought us some clouds and even a few showers, especially across western Kentucky. But since then, high pressure has built in, and that is going to keep us quiet here. So it keeps pushing this frontal boundary farther off to the south. So that's where most of that unsettled weather will remain here for the next few days. So scattered showers pretty much on and off through Texas, Louisiana, down into the deep south, and even into portions of the southeast coast there. But that will continue to kind of just stay out of our way, thankfully. But zooming in a little bit closer here in the tri-state, really not seeing anything falling from the sky at this time. So that's good. We don't anticipate any issues with precipitation tonight or even as we get into tomorrow. We'll stay mostly clear through the overnight hours, and we'll see mostly sunny skies through and through for our Saturday. Saturday is going to be absolutely gorgeous. So if you don't have any outdoor plans for tomorrow, I recommend you find some and you enjoy the weather outside, because then as we get into Sunday, still going to be a great day, but then we do have that spot chance for a shower. So if there were to be a better day of the weekend, it would be Saturday, but I think both are going to be just fine. Tonight we'll drop down into the lower 60s, so very cool, refreshing, and actually below average for this time of year. And honestly, I would say it's probably even a good idea tonight. Maybe if you just want to give the air conditioning a little break and crack a window, I'd say that would be good to go, especially because it's not really that humid anymore. However, you do have to kind of deal with all the bugs. So that's up to you if you want to do that, but it would be a good night for it. And then tomorrow we'll warm right back up into the lower 80s for our highs tomorrow afternoon, mostly sunny. Winds a bit breezy out of the northeast between 6 to 12 miles per hour. And overall, looking at your weekend forecast, here it is. Sunshine, we had that today. We'll have more tomorrow and Sunday. And then again, that spot chance for a shower there for Sunday afternoon. But most of us will stay dry. And looking at our temperature trend for the next several days, you'll notice that our blocks generally stay to the line or even slightly below it, at least through the first half of next week. We'll top out in the low to mid 80s, and then we'll eventually climb right back up into the upper 80s, almost 90 by the end of next week and possibly into next weekend. So this little break in the heat wave, our little fall appetizer, it's not going to last very long. It's only going to last pretty much through the weekend, and then once we get into the beginning of the work week, we'll start to see those humidity levels increase once again. So it won't feel as refreshing. It'll still be relatively cool and comfortable because it won't be in the 90s, but it will be in the 80s and a little bit more typical for this time of year. But you'll notice, so enjoying this little lull in the dew points for the next few days while we can before it shoots right back up into that muggy category for the rest of next week. Looking at our rain chances, I mentioned while we do have that spot chance on Sunday, we do have better chances for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a little bit more scattered in nature. I'm not expecting any major storm systems to move through the area. High pressure is just going to be slipping off to our northeast, and what that does is it allows for that moisture to return out of the south. So then we get the heating of the day, we'll hit the moisture, the dew points will be a little bit more elevated, so you'll get a few spot showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then it starts to look like we dry back out by the end of next week. Looking at our stats for the month of July so far, we have started August, so everything is kind of now in the rear view mirror. Precipitation for the month of July, we clocked in around 6.47 inches, so just shy of 6.5 inches of rain for the entire month, and that put us 2.09 above where we should be. Now, for the year, it has been a very, very wet year. It was a wet winter, spring, and it has been a fairly wet summer. So we are just a little over 10.5 inches above where we should be for the year, and then the average temperature well above normal, 3.6 degrees above where we should be. So as we trend into August now, we'll start to see temperatures either moderate to around normal or remain slightly above average. It looks like this big gray area through the center of the country does include us a little bit. And then in terms of precipitation, I think it's picking up on a little bit of just tropical moisture this time of year. So you're seeing elevated chances for heavier than normal rainfall across the southeastern United States. But for us here in the tri-state, mostly expecting near normal conditions as we go through August. So there's a look at your 7-day forecast. Just to kind of wrap everything up here, beautiful this weekend. Make plans outside if you can. Going to the pool, the lake, anything you can do outside. It's going to be beautiful for Saturday and Sunday. Then we get some better chances for scattered showers and storms Monday through Wednesday. Not going to be a washout by any means. However, some of us just will get hit with a rain shower or two. And then it looks like we'll start to dry back out for the end of the work weekend. You'll notice temperatures remain in the 80s, but do gradually climb into the upper 80s to nearly 90 by Friday. So that is all I've got here for the forecast. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the comments real quick. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. If you have any reports or what have you, please let me know. Cheyenne says, good evening to you. Looks like Lacey heard the weekly siren test in Owensboro while she was shopping. Yeah, it's always a little jarring to hear those go off on a very sunny day. Looks like Paula says, good evening. Ricky, hello. I love this weather. I do too, Ricky. It's great. It's perfect for the end of July, honestly. We're really lucky. I know we just went through the ringer there with all the heat and humidity, but you know what? We were rewarded at the end. All good things come to those who wait. It looks like Jeanette says good evening as well. So that is all the comments that I'm looking at right now. I'm going to hop off of the live stream. I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe and have a great rest of your night and enjoy your weekend.